News. There's a new fun location that can keep your children active and warm at the same time. Find out more of what is keeping kids jumping all over the place.
Find out just how a family of 4 and a family pet escaped a house fire that has destroyed a place that they call home.
And the body was found at the side of Highway 231 in North Wilson County. Find out more on why this is the talk of the town.
All those stories, plus your local weather and sports. Middle Tennessee News starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Pericles Johnson.
And I'm Morgan Gonzalez. Welcome to Middle Tennessee News.
A McMinnville man is behind bars tonight after an investigation by special agents with Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. TBI investigators received a cyber tip in 2018 to investigate a Warren County man who was suspected of possessing child pornography. After further investigation, the 36-year-old Derek Brandon Webb was arrested for the possession of over 100 images of child pornography. On November 1st, 2019, the Warren County Grand Jury returned indictment of Webb with 1 count of sexual exploitation of a minor and 8 counts of aggravated sexual exploitation of a minor. Webb is currently booked in Warren County Jail and is being held on a $25,000 bond.
A 19-year-old man is now dead after a fatal crash in Murfreesboro. The accident happened Wednesday morning in the southbound lane of Northwest Broad Street. According to Murfreesboro Police Department, witnesses say that the driver was driving at a high rate speed on the shoulder of the road when he clipped another car. The Impala veered off the shoulder and struck a large rock, causing the vehicle to go airborne and crashing into a tree, causing the driver to be trapped. The driver was pronounced dead on the scene, and a 39-year-old passenger was taken to the hospital and treated for injuries. The accident is still being investigated by the Fatal Accident Crash Team.
Kelsey Ketron, Mayor Bill Ketron's daughter, a former political campaign treasurer and Republican Party committee woman, has been indicted on 70 counts of insurance fraud, including money laundering, forgery of impersonating a licensed professional. Ketron was arrested and booked Wednesday and was released this morning in a reduced bond of $10,000. Kelsey Ketron resigned from her GOP role back in July, days after the authorities searched her home and her father's insurance office due to fraud. Ketron will appear in court on November 25th.
A family is displaced after a fire destroyed their home. Smyrna Fire Department personnel was dispatched to a fire at Gamble Lane yesterday morning. 4 people inside the home were able to escape, but the family dog remained trapped inside of the home. Flames were visible in the front and side windows of the home. The Smyrna Fire Department began battling the fire and were able to successfully rescue the family pet. Smyrna Fire Chief Bill Culberson said, quote, "We understand that pets are an important part of families, and we are happy we have the equipment to allow us to save this pet." The American Red Cross is currently assisting the family. The cause of the fire is still under investigation.
The Tennessee Highway Patrol is asking for help from the public to identify a body found in Wilson County. The body of a 59-year-old man was discovered on Highway 231 in North Wilson County early Sunday morning. The Tennessee Highway Patrol reports that a pedestrian found the man near the intersection of Old Hunters Point Pike near the Cumberland River Bridge. Highway Patrol officers have not yet released any more information, and the case is still currently under investigation. If you have any information regarding the investigation, contact the Tennessee Highway Patrol Nashville District Regional Dispatch Center at 615-741-2060.
Still ahead on Middle Tennessee News, the Rutherford County School Board is planning to rezone certain elementary schools.
And the Mount Juliet Police Department is partnering with the Alzheimer's Foundation of America to bring awareness to the disease. That's coming up next on Middle Tennessee News.
Every day, we take a stand for our nation, for each other, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Idle hands. They say they're the devil's workshop. But give idle hands a place to go, a purpose, and they're capable of amazing things.
From Iraq and Afghanistan, our brave warriors are coming home, wounded. Some with wounds you can see, some with wounds you can't see. Wounded Warrior Project was created to support our men and women coming off the battlefield. Please help carry these warriors the rest of the way home. Get involved at woundedwarriorproject.org.
It started with the original care package, and millions more like it. Passed from hand to hand, across land and sea, to help survivors in the aftermath of war. As we grew, we found better ways to help those in need, ways to make a real difference, not just today, but tomorrow as well. Be the difference in people's lives. Help deliver lasting change at care.org.
Welcome back to Middle Tennessee News. Murfreesboro has something new over the horizon that could help with getting your kids out of the house and active while still staying warm. Ron Lonsby, who is the franchise partner owner of Sky Zone, was happy to announce that Murfreesboro will be opening a Sky Zone by the end of January. It'll be opening up at the former Big Lots location, located on 1224 Northwest Broad Street here in Murfreesboro. The Sky Zone Trampoline Park has over 30,000 feet of trampolines with over 20 attractions. This is a great place for your child to come and have fun while still remaining active.
The Rutherford County School Board presented a rezoning plan to parents. Rutherford County School Board officials have a plan that will shift approximately 150 students from Wilson Elementary to Walter Hill Elementary and approximately 100 students from Walter Hill to Wilson. Parents are concerned their children will miss out on certain programs. According to the board member, Coey Young, this plan will balance out the number of students in each school.
What we're looking at is rezoning from Wilson Elementary to Walter Hill Elementary, which has capacity. Walter Hill has capacity. This school is not fully utilized yet.
Mount Juliet Police are teaming up with the Alzheimer's Foundation of America for Alzheimer's Awareness Month. The Mount Juliet Police are joining many others in lighting up buildings and landmarks with teal lights. This is in an effort to help raise awareness for Alzheimer's and support those living with the disease. The Alzheimer's Foundation of America is a nonprofit organization that supplies support, services, and education for people affected by the Alzheimer's disease. November is Alzheimer's Awareness Month.
Rutherford County Probation and Recovery Services received a huge donation this week from students at Lighthouse Christian School of Antioch. Director Alyssa Phillips helped organize the collection that was geared towards collecting clothing items for their clients and other people in the community who might not have access to warm clothing during the upcoming winter months. Headmaster Brian Sweat and teacher J.D. Peary played an important role in getting students, faculty, and parents involved in the clothing drive. The Probation and Recovery Services received 17 bags of clothing from students of Lighthouse. The department is very grateful for the large amount of clothing they received and encouraged others in the community to donate as well. For more information, contact the Probation Office at 615-849-5720. And coming up, Morgan will join us after the break with your full weather report.
Idle hands. They say they're the devil's workshop. But give idle hands a place to go, a purpose, and they're capable of amazing things.
From Iraq and Afghanistan, our brave warriors are coming home, wounded. Some with wounds you can see, some with wounds you can't see. Wounded Warrior Project was created to support our men and women coming off the battlefield. Please help carry these warriors the rest of the way home. Get involved at woundedwarriorproject.org.
It started with the original care package, and millions more like it. Passed from hand to hand, across land and sea to help survivors in the aftermath of war. As we grew, we found better ways to help those in need, ways to make a real difference, not just today, but tomorrow as well. Be the difference in people's lives. Help deliver lasting change at care.org.
Welcome back to Middle Tennessee News. Even with sunny skies, today was an incredibly cold day out here in Middle Tennessee. Our high reached only 43 degrees. Wind speeds were around 10 miles per hour and humidity levels were at 75%. And tonight, well, it's going to get even colder. Our low is going to go all the way down to 22 degrees. Humidity levels will be around 36% and wind speeds will be calming down to 5 miles per hour. Things will be warming up into our weekend, however. We're looking at sunny skies through Sunday with a high of 56 and low of 35 on Saturday, and a high of 64 degrees and low of 42 on Sunday. It'll be a cloudy start to our week with a high of 61 degrees on Monday and a low of 24, and a chance of showers into that night. And the cold weather will be making its return on Tuesday with a high of only 31 degrees and low of 14. That's all for our weather report. Back to you, Pericles.
And when we come back, Caitlin and Jonas are over in the MTN Sports Den. They'll have your full sports report after the break. Stick around.
Idle hands. They say they're the devil's workshop. But give idle hands a place to go, a purpose, and they're capable of amazing things.
From Iraq and Afghanistan, our brave warriors are coming home, wounded. Some with wounds you can see, some with wounds you can't see. Wounded Warrior Project was created to support our men and women coming off the battlefield. Please help carry these warriors the rest of the way home. Get involved at woundedwarriorproject.org.
It started with the original care package and millions more like it, passed from hand to hand across land and sea to help survivors in the aftermath of war. As we grew, we found better ways to help those in need, ways to make a real difference, not just today, but tomorrow as well. Be the difference in people's lives. Help deliver lasting change at care.org.
The MTSU Lady Blue Raiders had their first game of the season against East Carolina University on Wednesday. The Raiders won 68-66. Charity Savage led the team with 16 points and 13 rebounds, with Anastasia Hayes leading with 9 assists. The Lady Blue Raiders' next game is at home against the University of Kentucky Wildcats on Sunday, November 10th at 3 p.m. To all of Middle Tennessee, come out and support your Lady Blue Raiders. Now, Caitlin and Jonas join us from the Sports Den.
Another week, another edition of Middle Tennessee News Football Friday. Alongside Jonas H., I'm Caitlin Runyon, and while it's a bye week here in Murfreesboro, there's still a lot to cover, starting with Middle Tennessee's big loss to Charlotte last week, and a look ahead to the rest of the schedule for Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, Middle Tennessee can't be too happy with the result last week, a 34-20 loss against Charlotte. That was their first loss against the 49ers all time. And while Asher O'Hara kept his trend of running the ball with 148 yards and a touchdown, he ended up with more rushing yards for the second consecutive week, only dropping 140 yards through the air. The Blue Raiders have to spread the ball more, only combining for 165 passing yards in the last 2 games. And they have plenty of great receivers like Ty Lee, who after having 7 touchdowns last season only has 1 this year. Meanwhile, the defense has continued their struggle against the opponent's rush, this time giving up 268 yards and 3 touchdowns, even without Charlotte's star back with Benny LeMay banged up with an Achilles injury.
That's right, Jonas, and Middle Tennessee will really need to take advantage of this bye week to regroup and figure out who they are. The Blue Raiders will face Rice next week here at home in Floyd Stadium, and the Rice Owls have only won 3 games in the last 3 years. And in that 3-year stretch, the Owls have only come away with 2 conference wins. Last week could have been rock bottom for the Blue Raiders after losing to Charlotte for the first time ever, but if they don't pull it together against Rice at home next week, that will certainly be rock bottom. In the next 2 weeks, MTSU plays the 2 teams at the bottom of Conference USA in offense Old Dominion has the single worst offense in the NCAA with 237 yards per game. And before that, Rice isn't much better, while they're fourth worst in the NCAA with 273 yards per game. So this should be an easy 2 wins for the Blue Raiders. And winning these 2 games would set up for a win or go home bowl game for Middle Tennessee against Western Kentucky in their final match of the season.
Yeah, the 100 miles of hay could be a big game for Middle Tennessee in their quest for a bowl game, but they got to take it one game at a time. That starts next Saturday here in Murfreesboro against the Owls of Rice. Kickoff is at 3:30.
And that will air on ESPN+. And that's all we have for you this week for Middle Tennessee News Football Friday. Tune in next week for a look at the remainder of the season and Middle Tennessee's future opponents.
And that is all we have for sports today. I'm going to toss it back over to Morgan.
Thank you for joining us for Middle Tennessee News. I'm Morgan Gonzalez. If you missed this or any show, you can watch them on our website, middletennesseenews.net. And make sure to follow us on our social media sites as well, Facebook/Middle Tennessee News or Middle TN News on Twitter. Have a good night, Middle Tennessee.